This is Tech Vibe Radio, your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. Tech Vibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savier at savier.com. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. Oh my goodness, Audrey, it's Sunday morning. So glad to have you hanging out with me here on Tech Vibe Radio.
This is so fun. Can't wait to jump into this topic today.
First off, Audrey, we get really fired up about all things STEM and STEAM education. I don't know whether to call it STEAM or STEM. I think I like having the arts in there, but that's probably a whole other discussion that we're going to have coming shortly. But today, looking at some of the resources that are out there to make our kids engaged and just fired up to learn and get into tech, because we need tech workers, man. We want people to be part of it. And today we are welcoming Aaron Whitaker from Fluxspace, company here that I've just learned about only in the past few months, about doing some great work to provide the tools needed to make the kids have some fun.
And so if you're listening, before we introduce our guest, it's fluxspace.io.
Yes, for the website. Exactly right.
Go to the website.
In case you got your laptop in front of you or your phone in browser mode.
So Aaron, welcome.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me.
And tell us about you and Fluxspace.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to. So I am an educational innovation specialist, fancy title.
I like
with
that.
With Fluxspace.
Looks good on a card when you have that.
It does. But I'm actually a former educator. So I taught for 13 years in the classroom.
What
and
grade?
I taught middle school, I taught high school, I taught a little bit of upper elementary school, maths, STEM, computer science, robotics.
Wow.
Where? And I started up out of college. I was up in Erie School District doing student teaching. I came down. I subbed for several different districts until I got my first real job, I like to say, at Propel Schools. And I was a high school math teacher for the Propel Schools charter school system. And then I really got into the technology, and I had some leaders and principals who were really big advocates for trying new things and integrating technology, and I just clung to it. And whenever I had the opportunity to try something new, I was always the first one. I think it started with smart boards when they became a thing in the first
smart board.
Right? Yeah, way back when those things were the new innovative thing at the time, right? From there, got my master's and then went on and found a position at Swickley Academy. So a very different school system.
Yeah, we know those guys. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think you guys had a podcast with them a while back.
Absolutely, we did.
Kristen McCloskey.
Exactly. You're getting extra points here on that. I like this, Audrey. Educated guest here. I like this.
Yeah. So, and they had a role as a middle school tech coordinator there. And so I was teaching more middle school there, some upper elementary, but then also supporting teachers and how they can utilize technology in the class.
So how'd you make the jump to Fluxspace?
So then from there, I really enjoyed that piece. And I was like, okay, where do I want to go now? So how can I take my talents to the next level?
Yeah.
And so I came across a post on LinkedIn, Fluxspace. Their headquarters are in Norristown, Pennsylvania, and they were looking for someone to start the Pittsburgh area.
Very
I was
cool.
like, oh, STEAM, computer science, working with teachers, doing professional development. I had done lots of presentations at different conferences and workshops. So everything was just like, oh, this is like everything I love to do.
You're like,
right?
count me in.
Yeah,
this is my jam.
So they brought me out, and I checked out what it was all about out at the Norristown location. And so I've been with them for about 1.5 years now.
Excellent.
Okay. And so if people want to know, what's your pitch? What do you do?
Yeah, what do? We do lots of things that I love to do, right? And so really our mission is to revolutionize learning environments. And really it's what are the products? What are the experiences? What are the programs? What are the things that should happen in a classroom that are going to provide those innovative, really rich learning experiences for students? And that's everything from what's in the space to the technology, the furniture, the curriculum, the programs, the mindset of how we should be thinking about teaching and learning.
So you actually create STEAM spaces for a school or for a nonprofit, right?
All of those things.
Okay.
And it's not a one size fits all model because in my experience, no school Every school is different.
Right.
And so when we're working with schools, we're really trying to pinpoint what are your needs, where are your supports, because what we find is there are many schools in Pittsburgh that do a lot of things really well, but there's usually like one area that they're just like either they're missing some supports or missing some professional development or just missing a piece.
Right.
And so we're trying to fill in that gap of like, what is the piece you're missing? Is it that you have all the technology, but you have a group of new teachers and you just need that professional development for them? So we can either go on site and do professional development. They can come to our what we call our experience center to do professional development. So that's one option. Or maybe you just need an inspirational place to come, whether it's leaders. We host leadership retreats at our place. And so we'll just get leaders in and just thinking about the future of education. Maybe you have some really forward-thinking teachers, but like you need to know what's the best thing out there. And so we do a lot of curating of products. And so there's so much tech out there right now.
It's overwhelming, right?
It is.
You can kind of sort it out for them. Yeah.
And that's the idea is what is actually valuable? What is just gimmicky? They say it does AI.
Right.
It doesn't really do AI. Are teachers or students learning anything from that? Is it really a codable electronic or is it just a fancy robot, right? So trying to make that difference so that we're taking that legwork out of the teachers because teachers don't have time to do all that.
Yeah.
I've been there, right? Like it's exhausting the amount of stuff teachers have to do. And so it's what would I have liked to have as a teacher when I was still teaching, right? And that's sort of the mindset we take on is like, what are the supports that I would have enjoyed having or that would have been beneficial to me in the classroom setting that I know all these educators are looking to have out there.
You're probably thinking like, what would make teaching math so much more fun?
Yeah. Oh my God. I know, right? I think of all these things that I work with. I mean, talking with mentors, I'm like, oh, you should try this now. You should do this now, right? And I was like, oh, I wish I would have had this when I was teaching because I totally would have used this tool.
So if schools or if there's like a superintendent listening or there's a teacher listening, how would they start to get engaged with you?
Yeah, I mean, reaching out to us by email or going to our events page and attending one of our events. We're actually having a Halloween event tomorrow, the Spooktacular STEM Extravaganza. Yes, I know, right?
So do we dress up as integers?
I was going to be a quadratic equation, so yeah, I digress.
Yeah, and so we're going to host events at our location. In December, we're going to have another event. So if there's any, you can go onto our website, fluxspace.io/events. We've always got our events here.
Yeah.
Just make sure you pick the Pittsburgh events. But you can always email us, go onto our social media.
So it's like a support as well for other teachers.
Yeah, and we like to think of ourselves as partners. Like we're not here to just like to sell you something, to do something for you and then leave, right? We really want to be partners in it, right? Is what is the support so that okay, if you don't need anything now, great, but when you do, you can come back to us. Or great, we helped you with this now. Okay, we might not hear from you for a while, but when you need something, we are the people that can help you think because technology is going to continue to evolve and we're trying to kind of stay on that forefront so that when things do change, you have that support system to go back to.
So you have a location.
Yes.
And the location is in the West End of Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So we have what we call our experience center in the West End. And
we're
in this really cool old renovated church that we're starting to outgrow really fast, but it's a really cool space that you can come, and I like to call it the educator's playground. So you can tinker with different codable electronics and maker tools, laser engravers, 3D printers. We've even got indoor hydroponics. I'm actually growing some cucumbers and tomatoes right now indoors, right? Because we know how Western Pennsylvania is in the outdoor weather. So,
you're giving me some ideas now. Can I use your space for the winter? Yeah.
Yes. So hydroponic, we're actually going to do a workshop. We partnered with the AIU for a lot of workshops and remake learning.
Nice.
And so we're doing some workshops with that. So yeah, it's the place where you can come and experience some of these cool, innovative tools and technologies.
Think she's excited enough?
I don't think she's excited about what she's doing.
I don't know. I don't think she's excited enough.
Yeah, in case you just tuned in, we are talking to Erin Whitaker of Fluxspace. Go to fluxspace.io. You can tell she's got her dream job here, helping people build awesome STEM environments and providing that support. And we're going to come right back after a quick break, talk more about what they're doing, how they're doing it, some trends around STEM education, which is always so important. So this is Jonathan Kirsting.
And this is Audrey Rousseau.
We're from the Pittsburgh Tech Council, bringing you Tech Vibe every Sunday. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just look for Tech Vibe. You'll find all the good stuff right there. And go to pghtech.org, learn all about the Tech Council. Every company needs to attract and keep talented people. To do it, you need a strong company story told by those who experience it every day, your employees. So invite your people to be your brand voice and let the Kindling Culture Agency gather and ignite your stories to engage and attract your people. Learn how at sparksomething.big.com. That's sparksomething.big.com. CompuNetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, CompuNetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Your dial is set to Tech Vibe Radio, brought to you by CompuNetics, Chorus Call, Highmark, Huntington Bank, Kindling, PNC Bank, and Savio. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. It's Tech Vibe Radio. It's Sunday morning, and we're continuing our conversation with Aaron Whitaker of Fluxspace, right there in West End, right off of Green Tree Road, and the old church down there that's been converted. You got some really cool space. It's on your website, and man, yeah, it looks like a fun place to be.
Yeah, it definitely is a fun space. And we're all about the fun spaces. And like I said, our main headquarters in Norristown has a really cool space, and we're trying to replicate that out here. And so we're in an old church. If you're from Pittsburgh and know the West End, it was once called the Chapel of Blues Bar after it was a church, right? So church, blues bar, now cool. Fluxspace.
Now
right?
Fluxspace.
Kind of an interesting sequence of events.
Sequence of events there. I like what you have going on there now, which I think is fantastic because, as I mentioned earlier, Audrey and I get really fired up. The Tech Council does so much around STEM education because we're really excited about the future of tech in Pittsburgh and having everybody being able to take part in that ride. And when we see kids being stoked about learning, it's so much fun.
Teachers.
And now we're helping the teachers so they can help the kids learn, have fun. It's really cool. And they have passionate people like you kind of bring all that together. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
describe the space. So take us on this imaginary
little
visual
journey.
tour.
I mean, it's cool because you walk in and you just, it's got the tall cathedral looking ceilings, right? It's this cool tin ceiling and you got the big windows. But then you look in front of you and it's set up for just different educational experiences. So in one corner, you might have this lounge seating area where it's a collaborative lounge space. You might have this little maker space area that's in the back that has our laser engraver and 3D printers, and there's lots of tools and things out to just make things and build things. Then we have we have our little library reading nook in the one back corner, right? And so
where's the hydroponics you were talking about?
The hydroponic, we have our hydroponics in our area. So our indoor ag space is what we like to call it, right?
Indoor ag, yeah.
And so this is becoming a really popular thing in schools, especially with the new steel standards that have come out for Pennsylvania.
Tell us about that, because I think that's something that this is the first time I've heard of this.
Okay.
And I need to be educated. I think probably a lot of our listeners don't know what this is, but this sounds pretty exciting that there's these new standards out.
Yeah,
so what is this?
So Pennsylvania decided to take a look and redevelop what the science standards look like for Pennsylvania. And so they created what's called STEELS, not named after Pittsburgh at all, but we like
it's all good. We can relate.
But it stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Environmental Literacy, and Sustainability.
Good Lord.
STEELS.
Say that 10 times fast.
Right. We like our acronyms in education.
Wow.
And that's a big one. And so the idea is we have these science standards, but now the technology and engineering is a big part of it that was never really assessed before in the state of Pennsylvania. And environmental literacy and sustainability, an area that continues to evolve, and we're seeing more and more the importance of that in our communities, right? And so they've tried to now encompass all of those things under the STEEL standards. And I think schools are trying to figure out how to navigate that, right? Because it's you only have so much time in a day, and we've already introduced so many things in the school day, and now it's okay, where do the engineering pieces go, right? Where does the environmental literacy piece, does it fit in the science class? Does it fit into a STEAM class? Does it fit into math class, right? Where does it go and what time? And so
you got STEAM and steel all being intertwined here now.
Yeah, and so schools are trying to figure out where does this go and how do we make this fit into either what we already have, or do we need to totally rethink our curriculum and scope and sequence? And so those are some of the questions that we're trying to help answer within districts is navigating those. And so we talk about the products and the experiences we have. We try to align them, right? And so your science technologies, and then the T&E is sort of the new one. The science one the teachers have pretty down, because those really haven't changed much, but the technology and engineering is what are some tools and resources that can help students learn the skill sets in that category. And then environmental literacy and sustainability, what are some resources that teachers can go to for those things as well. And the indoor hydroponics unit that we have is one of those resources that we have a partner with called Fork Farms, and they have this great unit. We've helped write curriculum that is aligned to the Steel standards with them. So
Nice.
a lot of our product partners, we work closely with hand in hand to make sure that the tool is going to fit the needs of the teachers and meet those standards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Pack a lot in.
Yeah, I know.
And so if people go to Fluxspace.io,
Yes.
they can see all your events.
Yep.
They can see ways that they can participate.
So they can see our events, they can see upcoming events, they can subscribe to our newsletter, they can see different spaces. So we have on our website it built out by space. So if you're looking for esports, right, there's a whole page built out on esports. If you're looking for indoor ag, if you're looking for libraries is a big one that schools are looking to renovate. How can we?
Yeah,
Right,
that's gotta be
because the
huge.
library has changed. A library is no longer you go and you sit quietly, you read a book or do research, right? The whole definition of what students are doing in that space has changed in the last 10 years. And
Absolutely.
so
It's a
they
great
have these
point.
spaces that are underutilized, that either all the books have been taken out or condensed because they don't
God.
need them, whether you like that or not. That's another
Yeah,
question
Right,
for another day.
right.
But like it's how can we use this in a way that's going to meet the needs of the students? So we're doing a lot of thinking about what these spaces could be used for more meaningfully. And then there's also our products there. So you can look and see what are the products that we support. And we're working on, again, working closely with those to figure out, okay, what are the tools at what grade level that are going to be best for teachers to use
Yeah,
in the
this is like
classroom?
your one-stop shop
Yeah.
It is.
Sounds
It
like
is.
for,
fun.
Try to
for
be.
STEM, STEAM, and steel.
Thank you for your energy too. Really,
Yeah.
and your passion.
Well, it's so much fun. I mean, I go to work every day. It's something new. I get to tinker with toys. I get to make things. I get to work with different administrators and teachers. And really, that's the part that I love is how can I make it different,
Love
right?
that.
And it's like, we always talk about the aha moments in education, but it's like, I feel like I have those all the time, only it's with districts and with educators who like are finally doing something new and innovative and they're getting their students on board. And it's like, oh, yes. And when I get those little notes at the end of a PD to get feedback and they're like, oh, this was great. I'm going to implement this in my class. Like, that's my aha moment of like,
Totally, yeah.
Yes.
See, you're
So-
making a difference and,
Yeah.
and maybe inspiring the next kid out there to do something really awesome. Like, I don't know, we think it's great. We get very fired up about it. We only got a couple minutes left. And
know.
I mean, obviously this world is changing so quickly. What are some of the big things that are driving change right now? I know AI has got to be one of them. So tell us, how is AI
Yeah.
implementing your...
I know. Everybody has that big question. And I just went to the Future Focus Summit and heard a little bit about that there. But yeah, I mean, AI is going to continue to evolve. And it's one of those things like I don't know if anyone has the answers now, because I think the answers we have today are going to be different 6 months from now, a year from now,
yeah.
right? And so like my job right now is again, in K-12, what are the tools and resources we need? And I think of it in a couple different ways. It's like, okay, how are schools help generating policies around AI? How are teachers utilizing it to help them save time and energy in the classroom? But then what are the skill sets that students need to know to understand what's happening with AI? And that's really the one I focus in, is like, what are tools that we can use to help students understand how AI is working? Because we're in a generation now where technology just is so easy that students don't really understand what's happening in the background. I think it's really important that they need to know, like, how is this AI machine or chatbot or whatever it is generating the information, the answers? And that's the part like that I'm trying to work with teachers and students on, getting to understand sort of the back end on a level that's appropriate for their age group, to understand that so that they can make meaningful decisions around what they're seeing. Right? Critical thinking, and that's exactly critical thinking and problem solving is really the name of the game of where we're at. Is how can we develop those skills for our students, because those are transferable skills no matter what career you go into. And again, other trends, right? Like thinking about like career readiness is another big one, right? Like thinking about the skill sets that students are going to need in order to do things 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
How do you even predict that? I know.
Right?
I'm like,
so
you
it's
can't.
like,
Exactly.
So it's less about the content and it's more about the skill set, right? It's what are the skills, the critical thinking, the problem solving, and some of these other things that are really going to allow students to be their own learners for the rest of their lives. Because it's just, it's going to go faster and faster. It is what it is.
Well, I tell you what,
Oh,
I hate
thank
saying this,
you.
but like we're out of time. But man, we need to have you back because we're gonna need to bottle a little bit of what you got, because your passion goes a long way. This is what makes a difference here in Pittsburgh, and you know that Fluxspace is right there in the West End doing what you're doing. I mean, amazing stuff. Really tell everyone one more time, go to fluxspace.io, check it out. I mean, you're gonna be amazed at some of the resources there. And Aaron, you're making it happen there because you're on the ground, man. I love it.
And we encourage anybody to stop by anytime. Again, reach out out to me by email, Aaron@fluxspace.io. Visit our website. Reach out to me through social media. Any of those will work.
Perfect.
so
Great
much.
stuff. Whew. Audrey, great way to start your Sunday off, don't you think?
Great.
Yeah, 100%
Are they
behind it.
open on
mate.
Sundays?
Yeah, you open on Sundays? Can we come over after this?
Some coffee.
Yeah, exactly. We need some coffee. Perfect. Everyone, thanks again for spending Sunday morning with us here, getting your front row seat to all the great things like Fluxspace that are making Pittsburgh just the awesome city it is. This has been Jonathan Kirsting.
And this is Audrey
We're from the Pittsburgh Tech Council. Go to pghtech.org. Do that and have an awesome rest of your Sunday. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Thanks for geeking out with us on Tech Vibe Radio. Tune in next Sunday for more tech and innovation stories right here from Pittsburgh. Tech Vibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savier at savier.com. And we're always coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios.